Welcome back to episode 188 of the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast. My name is Josh. I'm here with Troy. What's going on, Troy?
Not a whole lot. We are recording early today, so we will have the rest of our day on Sunday to do something if we want.
And maybe energy, Troy?
Maybe energy. We'll see. We'll see. I got a good night's sleep. Feeling good. I got my son's teams registered for their state tournament since we got our bids in baseball. So now that's all taken care of, hopefully. So I should be good.
Anything else going on this weekend or just chilling?
Kind of chilling. Maybe looking at a button bar. I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to learn it. I have no idea.
Because will they be like obsolete by the time that you learn that thing?
I just failed miserably, but I have it. It's right here. It's plugged in.
Great. Well, my daughter has a hockey tournament this weekend. That's part of the reason why we're recording a little bit early, and spent Friday and Saturday so far at the National Sports Center in Blaine, Minnesota at the Super Rink, which I posted a picture to our Discord because it is big.
Yeah.
And then somebody looked it up, and I was kind of shocked to realize that it's the largest arena in the world.
That shocks me too, because I thought there was one in Massachusetts that had 11 or 12 rinks. I didn't research it, but
okay.
I thought there was a bigger one in Massachusetts, but I could be wrong. I know it's huge. I've been there. It's kind of intimidating when you walk in and there's like 9 rinks, 10 rinks?
9, I think. Yeah, it's a great investment. Yeah. It's packed every time we go there. Like they had a huge boys like prospect showcase there on yesterday. Just tons and tons of kids moving in and out. And then if you're familiar with it, the National Sports Center in Blaine is not just a huge hockey complex. Mm-hmm. It's a huge everything complex. There's an insane amount of soccer fields. Insane. Like they'll have hundreds of teams from all around the world.
Yeah, it hosts. I think it's the biggest youth soccer tournament in the world is in Blaine, Minnesota. Okay. If I remember
softball fields, lacrosse fields. And I was going for a couple walks because you know how they always schedule for these tournaments, right? You have a game at 10 a.m. and then you can't have a game at noon. You have to have a game at like 8 p.m. So you literally have nothing to do for the entire day. So between game 1 and 2, I'm outside taking some walks, and I come across a massive field and a like crazy. I think it might have been like the World Championships for spike ball.
Nice.
You know, like that beach game where you basically spike a like volleyball and a little trampoline.
Yeah, it's like a tiny little rubber kind of volleyball-ish thing.
And these teams are all decked out. Like they had like uniforms and from all over the country, this sort of thing. And I was I even sent you a photo of it. I'm mesmerized by the whole thing, and I'm watching and kind of getting into it. All of a sudden my phone goes off and my wife's like, your daughter's game started 10 minutes ago. Oh crap. So I run back in. I was so preoccupied by spike ball and not realizing it was as big of a thing as it is. But man, it's like anything competition wise or sport now, it just seems like it's a huge deal. I don't know. But, well, I guess it's kind of a special day, Troy, for us, I guess, right? So if you're listening on Monday, it's 2 years to the day.
Yeah, right on the button.
First time we posted an episode of the show. We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but yeah, it's kind of crazy to think it's been 2 whole years. And I always like to say we never started with a plan, and we still don't have one, right? So here we go. We do have a lot to get into. Before we do get started, though, just a reminder that the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a Patreon podcast. That means that we rely on supportive listeners like yourself to help us cover our show expenses, produce more, and we hope better hockey card content and fund initiatives, even in a small way, to grow the hockey hobby. It's very easy to support us. You can do it for as little as $5 a month. We partner with Patreon and have a $199 support level tier where you can be one of the first 199 supporters of our show. It's very easy to do. You can go to our website, hockeycardsgongshow.com, click on the Become a Patron link at the top of the page. If you want, just go to the Patreon website directly, patreon.com, and search for Hockey Cards Gong Show. There's a link in the show description if you're listening to us on a podcast app or watching us on YouTube. And then finally, there's a link in our TikTok and Instagram profiles there too. And thank you for everyone who supported our show at Patreon over the last couple of years. We literally could not do this without you people, because everything you do, podcast related and service you need, costs money. And so it really helps us keep the show going. All right, Troy, you ready for the game plan for today?
On today's show, we begin with the almost greatest NHL player to wear number 88. Then we take a look at the NHL playoffs and what players are experiencing a hockey hobby surge, specifically around their Young Guns card. Then it's off to hobby news. This is followed by a segment that Josh kind of mentioned where we reflect on 2 years of the Hockey Cards Gongshow. Oh boy, I can't wait. Oh boy. We end the show with new product releases, the Gongshow mailbag, and any personal hiccups. Okay, Josh, previously we looked at the greatest NHL player that wore the number that matched our episode number. We ran through all the numbers, so we are now looking at the almost greatest NHL player to wear each number from the runners-up in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article. The almost greatest NHL player to wear number 88 per the nominees in the Hockey Writers' greatest NHL player to wear each number article, and selected by me is this guy, Josh, Andrei Vasilevskiy. Uh-oh.
Wait, Troy. Wait.
Hold on. Here it comes.
Wait. Is this the sound of everyone in Philadelphia quitting our show?
I know. Here we go. Here's my spiel. There were two other runners-up at number 88. Eric Lindros and Brent Burns. So pretty good list. However, I will fully admit, if you've listened to the show for any time, my bias is towards goalies. So I would much rather look at Vassy, but I'm fully aware of how good/great Eric Lindros was.
Burns, you're going to make the whole audience drink the Lindros haterade right now, aren't you?
I know. We're going to get the messages, but it is what it is. Brent Burns I threw out because he didn't wear 88 his whole career like the other two runners-up did, so Lindros and Vassy. So Burns got thrown out. I'm pretty sure Lindros wore 88 his whole year. Whole career. Maybe not. I don't know.
I think so.
I think so. He did in my mind. All right. So as a reminder, the greatest to wear number 88 was Patrick Kane. Okay. Now we got that out of the way. Hate mail. Send it to Josh. I don't know.
It is kind of fun, though, that finally we have a number.
Yeah.
Where there's like a legit debate over this, because I think, as you're aware, too, there's probably a decent percentage of people that might even suggest Lindros was better than Patrick Kane. Now, that's not necessarily our opinion, but there are people out there that have that opinion. So to have, you're right, Burns was 8 with the Wild.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think at the end with Carolina, I think, isn't he?
Okay, and with
I can't remember. I know he didn't wear this whole year.
But to have 3 guys in Vazzy and Lindros and Patrick Kane at one number, that's about as strong as we've had in this whole forever we've been doing this.
Yeah. So very good number. There's it's a very strong class. When you get in the single digits, there's some good ones because that's all they had back in the day. But all right, let's look at Vassy. See him on screen, very poised. I, for the life of me, can't figure out how he moves because he's on like the edge of his blades. If you look at the bottom, it's just crazy.
He's not even on his blades.
But he's so quick. Weird. Anyway, all right, he's a goalie, Josh. If you haven't surmised that from our conversation.
Oh, really?
And I cannot say this town. It's Tyumen, Russia. Tyumen. Tyumen.
Works for me.
Yeah, we'll go with that. So he's from Russia. Just remember that. Vasilevskiy was selected 19th overall in the 2012 NHL entry draft by the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Very high for a goalie, right?
Yes. He was the first goalie picked in that draft. I know that.
But I would say probably in the last, 5-6 years, have any guys even gotten the first round? Anything like that?
I'm not sure off the top of my head. I know goalies are one of those rare things where if they go in the first round, because especially like when they go number 1 overall, which we've got a couple, that's a lot of pressure on you. And sometimes it's the one position where it's so streaky. Sometimes it just doesn't work out. And there's only like 2 or 3 on a team usually on a roster in the NHL. So, all right. Vasilevskiy has played in 477 regular season NHL games over a current 10-season NHL career. Vasilevskiy has played his entire 10-season career with the Tampa Bay Lightning. For his awards and accomplishments, Josh, he's a 2-time Cup winner, back-to-back 2020 and 2021, one-time Vezina winner 2019, one-time Conn Smythe winner 2021, two-time NHL First All-Star Team selection, five-time NHL All-Star Game selection. For his career, Josh, Vasilevskiy has 293 wins, 143 losses, 30 overtime losses, 2.56 goals against average, .917 save percentage, and 34 shutouts. Vasilevskiy has made the playoffs in 9 of his 10 NHL seasons, compiling a stat line of 66 wins, 46 losses, 2.41 goals against average, .920 save percentage, and 7 shutouts in 115 playoff games played. Josh, best regular season of his NHL career. I will go with his 2018-19 season where Vasi had 39 wins, 10 losses, 4 overtime losses with a 2.4 goals against average, .925 save percentage, and 6 shutouts in 53 games played. That season also culminated with Vasi taking home the Vezina Trophy.
Are you a little bit surprised he's only won one Vezina?
I am, and it's really interesting. There's a lot of articles when you look at Vasi how maybe a little overrated when you look at the analytics. When you look at the analytics, now there's some stuff he does we'll get into in fun facts where kind of a big gamer, we'll say.
We also have not had a goalie in the past 15 years like go on a Vezina tear where they're one. Yeah, it seems like it's been like a different guy every year.
Yep. Yeah, that's again gets that streakiness, and one bad streak, it almost takes you out of the running for the trophy. But it's I was pretty surprised at his stat line. So here's the deal: Vasi, currently one of the best. Well, we'll get to that in a little bit. Currently, is one of the best goalies in today's game. He has been consistently one of the top goalies in the league for the past 8 seasons. When it's all said and done, Vasi will definitely be in the conversation as one of the best goalies to ever play the game. Now, is he the greatest goalie to play the game? Probably not. But he's definitely going to be in that conversation, top, I don't know, 10 or 20 maybe. He'll definitely be in there.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Active goalies, only goalies playing right now. You got to win one game. Who are you putting in net?
I have no idea. No one with the Wild, I'll tell you that. Well, you probably want to go with Vasi once you hear some of his stuff in playoff stats. But he's also he's 30, I think, now, so he's getting up there. But anyways, Vasi has established himself as one of the best big game goalies of his generation. A little more on that. Vasi is still playing, and during the 23-24 NHL season, he had 30 wins, 20 losses, 2 overtime losses with a 2.9 goals against average and a .900 save percentage with 2 shutouts. During the playoffs this year, Vasi was 1-4 with a 3.22 goals against average and a .897 save percentage. While not horrendous numbers this season, definitely a down year given Vasi's body of work. However, remember that Vasi missed training camp and the first 2 months of this season recovering from back surgery. So we'll chalk the down numbers this year to that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm going back to your big game. If I need one game, I don't know. I default to Vasi and I feel bad because that's always the answer for current goalies. All right. Fun, interesting facts. Nicknames: Big Cat or Vasi.
Big Cat's one of the better nicknames.
Yeah, I love Big. Yeah, Big Cat's sweet. All right, second fun fact. Vasilevskiy got his first postseason win coming in relief for Ben Bishop in Game 2 of the 2015 Stanley Cup Final. He was the first NHL goalie to get his first career postseason win in relief in a Stanley Cup Final game since Lester Patrick did it in 1928 with the New York Rangers.
Wow.
Lot to digest there. So first career postseason win in relief in a Stanley Cup Final game. That's the key.
I'm pretty sure Lester Patrick might have been the coach too. Or he was like,
oh, is that what he was
doing? There's something really weird with that story that we covered before because he was pretty old in 1928, I believe. I mean, he was in the C-55 and C-56 set in 1910, 1911.
That's awesome. All right. Vasi led or was tied for the lead in the NHL for wins in 5 consecutive seasons from the 2017-18 season through the 21-22 season. Vasi was also a finalist for the Vezina Trophy in 4 straight NHL seasons. So that's about as close as our goalie dynasty there. They call it in music the Imperial period. So we'll call it the Imperial period. Vasilevsky has 6 shutouts in a series-clinching win during his NHL playoff career. This is the most by any NHL goalie in league history. So there it comes down to your who do you want for that last game. So pretty good stat line there. And then my last fun fact, Vasi holds the NHL record for most wins in an NHL playoff year with 18 during the 2020 NHL playoffs. So that's pretty cool. He also holds about every Tampa Bay Lightning goalie record that is out there. I just didn't feel like reading all those off, but yeah, really good goalie. I'm curious to see how he rebounds for next year, given that he had the back surgery and all that, but we will see. Tampa Bay, the windows, is it gone? Is it gone for them to make any cup finals?
Well, we'll see what happens with Stamkos too.
Yeah. Stamkos all bitter and everything. And I love John Cooper. Like, he is one of my favorite coaches. Obviously, he's American. I think he's is he American? No, he's American, right? I know I've heard him speak many times, but no, he's Canadian. He is Canadian, but he's been on USA Hockey. Has had him talk at a couple of things I've been at, and he's really, really good. So
my brother's a chiropractor.
Yeah,
and what he has said to me is that you're never the same after a back surgery.
Well, I wouldn't imagine. I mean, it's just
if you're like Big Cat and your quick movement, that's got to be a little concerning, I would think, from the Tampa Bay side, and a big challenge for Vasilevsky to overcome.
Yeah, for goalies, for sure. That position, I mean, I'd say hips are probably number one, but then maybe hips, I don't know. Back is definitely in there. You start messing with that, and who knows. Okay. Oh, there, I forgot to put that picture of Vasi up there. He's playing. That was his playing career, or that's playing right now. But anyways, okay. Rookie card, Josh. He's a 2014 Young Guns, number 478. PSA 10 has a super low pop of 261. Gem rate of 49%. April 2024 sales of this card ranged in the $300 to $385 US range. And this is one of those cards. It consistently jumps around from the upper 200s to the low 400s US dollars. It literally just bounces back and forth in that range for the past couple of years. Maybe there may be an outlier here and there, but it's a pretty consistent range where this thing falls.
Okay, because I can't let go. Going back to we have to pick one goalie. I would also throw in there Bobrovsky. He seems like the last couple of years he's been Mr. Big Game too, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. He was one that he popped in my head. It's just I panicked.
And it's just Shesterkin.
Crisis of confidence. I didn't want to start going through all my goalies. Yeah, it's like Vasi has some of that stuff to back it up, but yeah, Officer Bob, definitely
Shesterkin. I think most people would have said Hellebuck, but he got pretty lit up.
Yeah, and Demko's,
he's hurt.
Top guys. Yeah, he's hurt. And agree.
Ilya Samsonov. Just kidding.
You just name them off. UPL, Grubauer, Joey Decourt, Calvin Pickard. Anyone remember him?
For the rest of the show, we're just gonna say goalie names and entertain each other. So
Jacob Markstrom. All right, enough of that.
Mika Kiprasov.
Yeah, there you go. Kiprasov.
One of my favorite names.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. And we can say it.
Hobby, playoff surge, destroy, Young Guns to watch. Getting down, just a handful of teams left in these playoffs for 2024. So I thought it'd be fun to do a little bit of a proper review of each remaining team and look at players that are getting that playoffs hobby surge through big performances. While I was doing this, it made me think back to the COVID era where the whole hobby was much more like, these Young Guns are on fire, right? Because everything was going up constantly for 2 years. And it hasn't quite been like that the past 18 months. And so I thought, well, let's take a little bit maybe of a pandemic era approach to seeing if there's any sort of hobby juice for some of these guys that are maybe having a little bit of a breakout in these playoffs, or what's happening with the the hobby known guys and the veterans. So right now we have 5 teams left, right? Big game 7 tonight between Vancouver, your Vancouver Canucks, Troy, and Edmonton. Who do you got winning that game?
Man, I still want Edmonton from the standpoint of McDavid getting his puck. Yeah, he's got a puck. A Stanley Cup, but we'll see. It was this was crazy. That the game on Saturday night was really good. I watched that one. That was awesome.
So given that we have, that gives us 5 teams. So Vancouver, Edmonton, and then Dallas, New York, Panthers, right, are the remaining 3. So now going back to that hobby viewpoint, is this a good group, you think, for the hobby left? I think it's okay. You got a couple Canadian
It's okay.
teams.
Yeah.
Rangers
are getting a lot of hype. You got Edmonton still in there. That's always going to be good from the McDavid standpoint. Dallas can go away. Florida, I always like seeing Florida and what they do. It's good to see us the Bermuda Triangle represent.
Yeah, we'll see if the Rangers are getting some hobby hype. We'll check in that in a second. All right, but we're going to start on the Western Conference, and we'll start with the 2 teams where one of them, after tonight, will no longer be in the playoffs, between Vancouver and Edmonton. We'll start on the Vancouver side. Now I'm going to first break down sort of our hobby surge performer, like somebody that's coming out of nowhere, or a player that's really kicked it up and where they're seeing some movement in their hobby market. First guy you got to start with is Arturs Silovs. Troy, you
want to give a I was gonna give a warning, like a trigger warning on this picture. That mustache, man. Watch out.
If you showed this picture to any like casual hockey player and you said, what position does this guy play on the team? Like 100 out of 100. That's like a goalie face, isn't it?
Oh yeah, look at that. He just
totally.
I don't know what he's. How do you say this guy's name? Do we know?
Arturs. I'm glad you brought that up.
Arturs
Silovs.
Yep, that's
My brain always wants to say Silvos.
Yeah, you have it right, because I'm looking at the pronunciation guide. Last name SIH-LAHVZ Silovs. At least you did that.
I struggle. I literally have to stop every single time, and it's like I have like.
You can't look at the last name text. You can't look at his name. You have to just say it from memory because it looks weird. Anyways, sorry.
With the big injury to Thatcher Demko, it forced the Canucks to turn to the 23-year-old Latvian goaltender who had only 9 career starts under his belt before the playoffs this year. So far, the playoffs, he's 5-4 with a 2.89 goals against and a .898 save percentage. Pretty much saved the day though for the Canucks.
Yeah.
That was a huge blow when Thatcher Demko went down, and has them on the brink of the Western Conference Finals if they can get past Edmonton tonight. But though, Troy, big butt. I don't know if he has a big butt, but Thatcher Demko has been taking shots recently.
Oh, jeez.
Ramping back up. Rick Tocchet is reporting that he's getting healthier and healthier as days go by. So there is a chance that the Arturs Silovs run might be over, and Thatcher Demko could start game 7.
Well, he's definitely saved the Canucks season so far by playing well in the playoffs. Now, is this like that? If Demko comes in, I feel like it's like in baseball where the number 1 pitcher comes in relief during a World Series game because they need to get your ace, who's usually a starter, comes in. So this will be interesting if Demko comes in. Good problem to have. Great goalie, but again, bouncing back from an injury and just saying, "Here you go, let's go playoffs."
Yeah, you haven't played in weeks. What would you do? You're a goalie coach. Would you be nervous? On one hand, you got your guy, who you can trust, and he's one of the elite goaltenders in the NHL. But then on the other hand, you got this 23-year-old kid who's been playing very, very well, and he's in the groove. I know they got beat up a little bit last game, was like 5-1 or something like that. What do you do, Troy? Which way do you go?
You'd probably be more. You'd have to have like a film breakdown because I mean his overall stats in the playoffs are Artus or whatever his name is. They're not the great. I mean they're good. They're not lighting the world on fire, or what his advanced analytics are. Because maybe there's some, or is it you keep riding him until he gives you any reason, like he has a bad game, and then you're boom, Demko's in, and we're gonna go
the
with
quick
him.
quick
the quick trigger finger.
Okay. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that shakes out. Looking at the hobby a little bit, so I found this fascinating. You talk about hobby surge on March 12th, because Stilovs is a Series 2 Young Guns. Somebody won an auction via eBay, Troy, where they got a Stilovs Young Guns Deluxe out of 250 and just a base Young Guns.
Yeah, I got a like package deal
for $2.25.
God. Love
it's
it.
a Young Guns Deluxe out of 250 and a base Young Guns. Now, the last sale of a raw base Young Guns for Stilovs was almost $13. So dig in those dollar boxes right now. It might be a good time to sell, especially if you think Demko could start Game 7. If you're maybe a Canucks fan or you're wondering, should I sell this? Should I hold it? I think that's a tougher question. Could he end up being like maybe next year a 1-2 punch with Demko, kind of like Linus Allmark and Jeremy Swayman in Boston? Yeah. Maybe, or in a year or two, will Stilovs make it a starting role on some other team? That could happen too. But on the flip side, though, Troy, we've also seen a number of goalie moments in the last couple of years on the show. There was December 2022 with the whole Pyotr Kochetkov thing, and that kind of faded. And then even last year in the playoffs, Aiden Hill in the Vegas Golden Knights run. Look how hot his Young Guns were, and now they're way back down as well. And so this is where I go back to, and this is my own personal opinion. I have no idea if it's right or wrong. Is take the win. If you're not a PC guy and you spent $1 on a card and you can sell it for $13, you've done pretty well.
Yeah, I think if Vancouver is really slow on this guy, it probably behooves them to keep him, because Demko, he kind of runs into, I don't know. He gets
hurty a lot, doesn't he?
He gets hurty a lot. I was looking at his games played, and the last time he played he had 64 in 21-22. I guess he had 51 this year before he went down. But yeah, before that, he's got, a 30 game season, 35, 27. I mean, it's always nice to have a good backup you can rely on.
Mm-hmm. Okay, beyond Stilovs, let's look at a few veterans on the Canucks and see what's happening in their hobby market. So Thatcher Demko, speaking
there
of
him, there he is.
2016 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 659, 71% gem rate, down 12% in the past 2 weeks.
Yeah,
last sold for $122.
Yeah,
not a surprise when you're injured and you got a young upstart who's playing well, that will hurt your hobby market a little bit there. Elias Pettersson, Troy, 2018 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 2,572, 77% gem rate. Boy, the gem rates for the 2018 are just crazy.
Yeah,
up 13% in the past 2 weeks. Last selling for $139 US. It is up though, Troy. Even he's been really quiet these playoffs. 1 goal, 6 points in 12 games played. Now, if you would have said coming into the postseason that they would be in a Game 7 to go to the Western Conference Finals, and this was Pettersson's stat line, boy, it'd be tough to believe that.
Yeah, you want more points out of him, especially he's getting the juicy new deal, right? He's going to make, is it 11 million a year, some crazy US?
11.5 or something like that.
Yeah, so you want him to kind of step up a little bit here.
And then finally, Quinn Hughes, who's a 2019 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 2,733, 64% gem rate, down about 1% in the past couple of weeks. Last sold for $182 US. He has 0 goals, 9 assists in 12 playoff games.
Yeah.
Not sure why that's down, but this is one, if they made the finals or you got past Edmonton, they got past Dallas, where I'm pretty sure that we would see a decent run there.
Yeah.
I'm kind of sad though, in a way, that Colorado didn't get past Dallas, because it would have been fun to see him and Cale Makar going toe to toe in the series.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
The two hobby darling defensemen. Okay, we're going to move on to Edmonton, Troy.
Sorry. When you said the Colorado. I watched the video of Zach Parise going through the handshake line because it's pretty. He's retiring, I think.
Oh, is it emotional?
Yeah, it was emotional. He hugs Suter. I think those two are good friends, but then, yeah. So he's I don't think he ever got a cup. No, or did he with New Jersey? Did he get one with New Jersey?
I don't think he did.
I don't think he did either, but I'll look.
Don't lie. Did you cry?
I did not cry.
Okay.
No cup.
Okay, now we're going to move on to Edmonton. So Calvin Pickard, much like Artur Silovs, has been a little bit of a goalie revelation for the Oilers in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Not due to injury, because Stuart Skinner just stunk.
Yeah.
But circumstances between the two players, though, and Silovs and Pickard are pretty different. Silovs, of course, is a 23-year-old rookie. Pickard is a journeyman, where even this run in the postseason, Troy, the 32-year-old does not have much of a hobby market. So I didn't even bother. It's a cool story. I saw they started Skinner in game 6 anyways. So I just wanted to give him a little shout out there.
Yep.
My hobby surge, though, for the Oilers had to go with Evan Bouchard. We might need to start talking about this guy more.
Yeah.
He is, if you look at his progression here in the league, I think this was his 3rd full season, only 24 years old. I think he had 18 goals and 82 points in the regular season. 18 goals is getting
guessed that he was up at 80 points. Wow.
Well, he's only good because of Connor McDavid.
Yeah, true. Like all Oilers, I don't care who you are, even if you're not on his line, you're only good because McDavid's out.
You're only good because of McDavid. So far in the playoffs, though, Troy, Bouchard has 5 goals, 13 assists for 18 points in 11 games played. That is a good stat line for Blue Line. Now, his 2018 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 479. 55% gem rate is up 29% in the past 2 weeks. That's over $118. So there's some movement here on the Bouchard Young Guns. Okay, looking at some key vets real quick. Connor McDavid, got to start with Connie McDavid. 2015 Young Guns PSA 10 pop count is 2,867. 47% gem rate. Down 26% in the past 2 weeks, Troy. It's kind of weird.
Well, I saw that last sold number, and this is one card where the value is always ingrained in your head.
It's not
like, whoa. I was like,
there's like 6-7 sales that are down. This is not an outlier. Now he has just 2 goals in 11 playoff games, but he also has 19 assists for 21 points. So it's the Connor McDavid assist machine.
Yeah, no one cares about assist machines. Go away.
Again, we never, ever give buy sell advice because nobody can predict that even remotely accurate. But I'm just going to tell you the way my brain would work is if I wanted to like gamble, like if I was like a sports bettor and I thought, well, I'm going to gamble with hockey cards, you get down to like $2,200. And if they do win tonight, and then especially they make the finals, one might think, right, that this card could go on a little bit of a run. Probably won't. So don't take my advice, but it just feels really low for one of his Young Guns, doesn't it?
Yeah, seems definitely.
All right, next I want to look at is Leon Draisaitl, 2014 Young Guns, PSA 10, pop 905, 58% gem rate, up 6% in the past 2 weeks. So Leon's going up. Less over 643 US. He's got only Troy 8 goals, 15 assists for 23 points in 11 games played in the playoffs. But again, he's only good because of Connor McDavid.
Yep.
I'm sure he'd be a bottom 6 player, press box guy on any other team.
Him and Shane Wright be hanging out.
Yeah, right. Only good. Okay, let's move on to Dallas. We're going to round out the Western Conference. So this is the one team in the Western Conference Finals that we know so far.
Yeah.
Obvious hobby surge guy has been Wyatt Johnston. No shock there. We did a pretty in-depth deep dive on Johnston on our last show. If you want to check that out, in case you missed it. Through the playoffs now, the young, just turned 21-year-old, up-and-coming star has 7 goals, 4 assists for 11 points in 13 games played. His 2022-23 Young Guns PSA 10 pop 466, 34% gem rate, up 42% in the past 2 weeks. That's over $235. So he's, I think, about anyone we're talking about, he's up the most, which isn't a shock because he's
our guy.
kind of going on a hobby run here.
Yeah.
Looking at some Dallas vets now, Troy. J-Rob. 2020, 21 Young Guns, PSA 10. Pop
I was going to guess. I just saw it, but I was going to guess it's probably down. I was going to say like 45%. And I saw your number.
Yeah. Well, it's pop 1464, 38% gem rate, down 1% in the past 2 weeks. Also for $124. He does have 3 goals, 9 assists for 12 points in 13 games played. It's sort of the J-Rob stat line where you think he's like not even playing, like he's totally just, but yet he has like a point per game.
Yeah.
And in general, it's been a very quiet hobby year for this whole thing is kind of weird where he didn't have like the greatest season, but it wasn't bad either. It just seems like all the air was let out of the balloon on his hobby hype.
Yeah.
Came back to tendies, Troy. Jake Ottinger, another 2020-21 Young Guns. PSA 10 pop 1,203, 52% gem rate, down 5% in the past 2 weeks. It's kind of surprising. It's played really good. Last sold for $76. He's 8-5 with a 2.09 goals against and 0.918 save percentage.
If you're 2.09 goals against, even though again these numbers are not the end all be all, but usually with a 2.09, you think you have a little more than 5 or less than 5 losses. But
yeah. And then finally, Miro Heiskanen, 2018-19 Young Guns. His PSA 10 has a pop of 1,221. 77% gem rate, another 2018 card with a huge gem rate. He's surging a little bit in the playoffs too. It's up 30% in the past 2 weeks.
Interesting.
Last sold for $82. Well, he has 5 goals, 9 assists for 13 points in 13 games played. So you got Bouchard and Heiskanen, both defensemen, kind of making some noise here in the playoffs. Ready to go on to the Eastern Conference?
Yes, let's do it. I'm ready for the Rangers.
The Rags. So the guy having the biggest hobby moment, Troy, and surging a little bit is a veteran. It's Igor Shesterkin for the Rangers. 8-2 so far in the playoffs. 2.4 goals against, 0.923 save. I like this photo of him.
Yeah,
okay. His pads look huge, don't they?
You know, I wonder how if they're enforcing the new equipment rules, because some of these chest protectors are ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he's wearing one of those sumo suits that you see at like where you can go and like, bash into each other.
You can barely run, but you can just move fast enough to hit the other person.
Shesterkin struggled a little bit this season, as we know, but his game is in top shape right now. That's for sure. He's a 2019 Young Guns. Remember, this is an SP Authentic Update card.
Yep.
And his PSA 10 has a pop count of just 451, 40% gem rate. Up 34% in the past 2 weeks, Troy, last selling for $300.
There we go.
I remember when we first started the show, this card was like 500 something.
Yep.
Okay, let's look at the Rangers vets and see if the New York fans are excited about the playoffs, Troy. Alexis Lafreniere is a 2020-21 Young Guns. PSA 10 pop 1,739. 39% gem rate, down 3% in the past 2 weeks. Kind of wild. I think he's about a point per game so far in the playoffs, from what I remember. I think this is one again where if they continue to play, they only lost 2 games so far in the playoffs, right?
Yeah.
And he makes the finals. That could be a different story in a week or two. We'll have to see. But of course, they got to get past the Panthers first.
Do you know the dollar? Is it like 125? Am I in the right range when I say what I think it sells for?
Oh, yeah, shoot.
150-ish. Somewhere in there, maybe.
Yeah.
I think I'm right. It's in that range somewhere.
Looking at a couple other vets, you got Artemi Panarin, 2015-16 Young Guns, PSA 10, pop 1,093, 49% gem rate, down 18% in the past 2 weeks. What? He's got 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 points in 10 games played. He's got 120 points in the regular season. Crazy. And then finally, Troy, Adam Fox, 2019-20 Young Guns, PSA 10 pop 1,853, 59% gem rate, down 29% in the past 2 weeks. Now he's got 4 assists in 10 games played in the playoffs. The other one down for the Rangers. Does nobody like the Rags here? What's going on?
What I was to say is I forgot to look. I bet if Chris Kreider had a spike. after?
I don't think so. I think I looked, and maybe. He's been around so long, though.
I know. I have like a MVP out of 25 card is, I think. I'm like, oh, maybe now I'll sell it for $2 instead of $1.
It can't be like a rookie, though, is it?
No, I don't think so. No.
All right, just in case I screwed up, I'm looking up Kreider.
I just know because he had his little natural hat trick, and we got a mailbag question on it, so it's pretty good.
Oh, yeah, he got some big sales. My bad. It is up 60% in the past 2 weeks.
Okay.
So I totally dropped the ball on this one. He's a 2012 Young Guns. His PSA 10 has a pop of 144 only.
Okay. Wow.
You don't see a lot of 2012 Young Guns. It's kind of wild.
Yeah, plus he's one of those guys, too. He kind of falls through the cracks sometimes.
56% gem rate, but $294 last sale.
Okay.
Pretty strong for Chris Kreider.
Yeah, I mean, 300 goal scorer. He's been around this 12th season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so fail on me there for not having Kreider. Well, I'll explain it. You'll understand why if you make it to mailbag. Why I'm sort of out to lunch on that one. All right, last team is Florida Panthers. Really curious, Troy, to see if there's any hobby love to be found in the Bermuda Triangle of the hobby, of course, in Florida. Didn't find much, got to be honest. A little bit of a stretch, but Anton Lundell has seen a little bit of a hobby moment, I would say. Been pretty good. These playoffs, 2 goals, 7 assists for 9 points in 11 games played. A lot of articles out there right now. He's sort of the guy that they're talking about, you know, putting his game together, building the trust of the coaches, realizing the potential that everyone saw in him. Those sort of
all the fun accolades or whatever they call them. Antidotes.
He's a 2021-22 Young Guns, PSA 10, pop count of 557, 56% gem rate, up 20% in the past 2 weeks. Last sold for $30. So I think the prior sale was $25, something like that. Pretty cheap cost of entry for Anton Lundell. And then looking at a couple of Panthers vets, you got Matty Tkachuk, 2016-17 Young Guns, PSA 10 pop, 1,256, 61% gem rate, down 10% in the past 2 weeks. Last sold for 150 US. He does have 4 goals, 10 assists for 14 points in 11 games played, I believe. Always shows up in the postseason. Kind of a rabble rouser, just a fun guy. I don't know, you know, you hate him if you're playing against him, but you love watching him.
Yep.
It baffles me. There's not more hobby love for this guy. It baffles me. Don't get it. And then Sam Reinhart, who had 57 goals in the regular season and 9 points in 11 playoff games, is a 2014-15 Young Guns, PSA 10 pop, 335, 72% gem rate, down 32% in the past 2 weeks. Because, he scored 57 goals. And
is he the one that threw the elbow into Marchand? Like I didn't do. I was bracing myself, but don't mind that my elbow just flew forward. It didn't look bad from the one camera angle. Then they did the reverse, and it's like, holy cow.
I don't know if that. Well, hold on, if that was Reinhardt or not.
I thought it was.
Hold on. No, and the name is blanking me right now, but I'm gonna look it up in 2 seconds. I'm gonna have
Sam Bennett.
Sam Bennett.
So sorry, Sam Reinhart. Sorry, Sam Reinhart fans, family. I didn't mean to imply, or I implicated him, and I should have. Know my facts.
Well, apparently, other than Mitch Grotman, and Beard Boz, there's no fans anyway. So nobody get mad at you. Where I'm gonna get all the Chris Kreider hate for the New York Rangers strike. I think that's a decently comprehensive look at the hobby market for key prospects and veterans still alive right now. Anything in general stand out to you? Like what are your big picture takeaways here?
I'm kind of glad we kind of looked at Kreider real quick, but Rangers, Shesterkin, I like seeing that. We talked about the Rangers, Josh. We did talk about them for a little bit, so I'm happy we got them into the conversation. No, I think overall it's generally what we thought. If you'd asked me without looking at a bunch of names, probably would have landed there. But
of any player we've talked about, and this is just a guess, there's no way to know. Who's got the most hobby upside, you think? We're just talking about Young Guns, because that was sort of the center of this conversation. For winning the Stanley Cup, of any of the guys left,
We'll throw out any goalie
because it would just be temporary because we know like after you win the cup, for like 2 weeks it goes bananas and then it comes back down.
Well, what thing about McDavid being down, whatever it was, 26%. I could see a cup spiking that right back up. I mean, that's a big jump, and maybe even more than 26%.
It's hard not to say McDavid. I kind of agree with you there. All right, got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner and sponsor Slab Sharks. We are very grateful to them for their support of our show. The current Slab Sharks weekly eBay auction is live. Head to slabsharks.com for a link to the auction. Check out all the amazing hockey cards available, and of course, place your bids. Troy, you and I each spent some time, probably yesterday, combing through the auction. Each picked out 3 favorites that we want to kind of highlight today. So I'll let you go first.
All right. First one I found right here on screen, Oli Letzfa, right? Our favorite Oli. 2022 Upper Deck Clear Cut, Mario Lemieux, high gloss, auto out of 10. I'm starting to kind of dig these clear cut cards. I know some people don't like them and everything, but I kind of dig them. Plus, this auto actually looks pretty nice. Sometimes on these cards, they can be a little fadey.
That's my sticking point. It's a very tough surface to have a bold auto on, but you're right. That one does look very nice.
It looks really nice. Great picture. So that was my first one. Second one, I actually love this card. I'm so bidding on this. 2022 Upper Deck Stature. Hank Lundqvist, our boy, auto green out of 25. Love Stature. I just love Stature. Every time I see Stature cards, I'm just drawn into them.
Another tough surface for an auto. Yes. That one looks really good on there too.
Yes, very tough surface. Looks really nice. Plus, the more I watch him on TNT, is just I want a whole channel of Hank talking goalies during the playoffs. He is so good. He's so like calmed, nice demeanor, just really explains things well. So he has been fantastic on TV. And again, I think the green looks awesome. It's not a color match, but it's definitely is this a complementary color, Josh, or green and blue? Or are they opposites? I didn't get my color wheel out, but I think it looks really nice.
I don't remember.
Neither do I.
Do you think that Hank's appearances on TNT have helped his hobby market?
I would think so.
Me too.
I would think so for sure. Maybe not a huge amount, but definitely getting more eyeballs on him. And then final card. I am really starting to love these 2018 SP Authentic. It's a Ron Hextall Sign of the Times auto 80s. That card looks like 80s vibes all over it. I love it.
Oh yeah,
I love Hextall. Great auto. So I kicking myself. There was a Hawk and Lube of one of these that was up for auction. I can't remember if it was Slab Sharks or whatever, but I totally dropped the ball and didn't get it. I am going to be trying to get this one, but we'll see.
Nice.
I got to learn if I'm trying to get a card, not to bring it up on the show because I'm just jacking the price up. But anyways,
don't show it to thousands of people and talk about how great it is. Okay, I have 3 favorites too. I went with the Bedsy.
All right.
The 2023-24 Black Diamond Connor Bedard Rookies Gold 101 Troy.
Yep.
Big time card, of course, being a Bedsy 101. But I picked it because it's a really nice looking card. Like there's a lot of 101s that, of course, are like cool or significant or special or important, expensive, whatever word you want to use, but are ugly in some cases. But this is a very, very nice looking 101. So, like, I wouldn't even mind this card if it was like out of like 49 or something like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. Then I went with the 10D2, a 2017-18 Splendor Patrick Waugh Silver Sticks Gold 101. I had to choose because I love when you mix silver and gold. Silver and gold. As we know with like the triple gold. The Sterling Stick memorabilia. So it's Sterling Silver in there. It commemorates players that have over 1,000 games played. The other reason why I picked it too, not just because it's a 101, but I've been very anti-manufactured patches, but this is kind of like a manufactured sort of thing that I could get behind, right? It makes sense to me because they usually get a silver stick, right? When you get 1,000 games. And so it kind of commemorates that. And that's not game used, of course, either. That's when the player gets their stick, it's manufactured memorabilia. So in my weird brain, that makes it okay.
And if I remember right, there's a couple more of these kind of cards out in the Slab Sharks auction.
Oh, really? Cool.
Yeah, not WA, but other guys. So if you're into these, check it out because there's some other ones out there.
The last one I found is a Ultimate Collection from 2022, Slafkovsky, Ultimate Rookies Jumbo Patch Auto out of 15. I just think it's a beautiful patch auto card.
Yeah, looks nice.
I'm lukewarm on Slafkovsky. Don't love him, don't hate him, sort of thing. I was happy to see, given he was the number 2. Was he number 1 or number 2 overall pick? He was number 1 overall pick, and he had a better year last year. But man, tell me there's a better looking patch and RPA design than that. This is a fantastic looking card. So
yeah, it's a great looking card.
Are you bullish on Slafkovsky for next year? Or
I want to be, but he's doing the right things, right? He's progressing. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see.
Just have to see more. Sometimes you just have to see more. Like, you can't make up your mind. It's like,
he's got all the tools. He's got everything you want in a player. He's big, strong. So we'll see.
Handsome
looking man.
Okay, if you're a Canadian hockey card collector and are looking for an easy, hassle-free, and effective way to sell your cards on eBay, we'd recommend checking out Slabshark's eBay consignment services. They make it super easy to sell your cards. You just send them your cards that you want to sell or drop them off at a card show where they have reps at, and they have people now at many, many shows, it seems, all across Canada. Then they do the rest, Troy. They do it all in a very professional way. Do not cut any corners. They'll take professional images of your cards, complete the listings, answer buyer questions, hunt down payment from winners, ship to both Canada and the US, and then plus handle any post-sale issues. In addition, your cards get listed in their weekly eBay auctions, which attract tons of eyeballs, including ours, and which should create more bidding opportunity for your cards. So for complete consignment information, including payout rates, head to slabsharks.com. Happy news!
Happy news.
Like we do, got to start with the road to infinity. Time for another update where we're tracking the ascent of the PSA 10 pop count for the Connor Bedard base Young Guns. In just a couple months, Troy, it's already in the top 15 of all graded hockey cards by total pop count. Will it make them another jump? We'll have to see. It's pretty amazing, though, to think about. And will this be the most graded hockey card ever? Key question. Then how long will it take for the base Young Guns to be the number 1, right? That's the whole point of the road to infinity. As of our last update, the PSA 10 pop count had risen to 2,476 with a 44.7% gem rate. Now we're just 4 days later, Troy. And according to the latest PSA 10 pop, or PSA pop reports, I should say, the Connor Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10 pop count has increased to 2,729.
Did they find a bunch behind a box or what?
No,
in the move, did they drop some and now they found them?
Maybe they were behind. They had to catch up.
Could be.
Pretty big jump again. Increase of 253 PSA 10s in just the past few days. A whopping total in less than 3 months, 2.5 months. 6,053 Connor Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10s have been graded by PSA. It's an updated gem rate of 45%. Check this out. There's now more Bedard base Young Guns PSA 10s than Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar, and Elias Pettersson.
Sure, why not?
So we'll have to see. And now the Wednesday jump's usually a little smaller, but getting close to 3,000. Crazy. Well, speaking of PSA, Troy, there's a new slab. A lot of news on the last few days.
Yeah.
So when you look at these slabs,
here we go.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because there's now, according to them, and we'll break it down. There's a lot of structural material difference. They just look almost identical. So it's kind of funny when you tout the big slab overhaul, and it's like, because I put up here. Now, this is actually what's kind of neat for hockey is on the page on their website where they induce their Fancy Nancy new slab. They use this card, the Connor Bedard Young Guns High Gloss, as the sample card. So they're giving hockey some love. And then I picked a Kaprizov Young Guns from like 2021, right? So obviously old versus new slab.
Lots of those to choose from.
Yeah. Well, you know that better than anyone. So apparently they've been working 3 years, Troy, on this slab.
3 years. All right. What'd they come up with in 3 years?
Well, let's get into that. Right. Here's some of the new features. Medical grade plastic. Thank God. The hobby's been clamoring for medical grade. I don't think I'd ever heard the term medical grade plastic till a few days ago, and now it'll probably be part of the hockey or the hobby fabric.
Yeah, the lexicon from now on.
Yeah. So I went to the PSA site and I'm like, well, why is medical grade plastic important? And here's what they have to say about that, Troy. This new polymer is more shatter resistant, more resistant to UV damage from the sun, and even scratch resistant. PSA mechanical engineering manager Brian Alvey said. The overall dimensions of these new holders will be identical to what PSA used before the update, but the in-hand feel is significantly more premium.
Okay. Hey, so sun protection and scratch, very good.
Yeah.
Shatter resistant, I don't care.
How many instances of PSA slab shattering have you heard of?
Well, I think that's
Okay. So when describing the new medical grade plastic, Troy, they use words like more durable, impervious, and dense, which I see as code for them being much harder to crack.
There you go.
And as in the royal we in PSA, we want to stop you from cracking our slabs. We don't want you to do that anymore. I almost have to wonder how big of a catalyst that was for this whole thing to begin with. You know, given their grading is fairly inconsistent, I think a number of hobbyists take the approach of, I'm just going to crack and resub until I get a 10.
Yeah.
Heard that before a lot. It also, of course, when that happens, makes the pop reports a lot less useful, as you have to factor in whatever percentage you want to use for cards that have been cracked and are, again, raw or were resubbed, that sort of thing. So
it's funny you say that, because I'm curious of people that do crack, what percentage do you think send the label in? Because that's an option. You can mail the label in and they're supposed to remove it from the report. Do you think it's like 5%, 1%?
I was going to say less than 5. Do you think that that's a motive behind this, or it could be a motive?
I definitely feel that's a motive. I can't wait to see the first. There might be videos already out on YouTube of people trying to crack these to see how they go. I've been watching I've never actually, maybe once, but cracking I've really taken interest in lately, because cards I want for my PC, I don't want them in slabs. I just don't like, or especially I don't want them in a PSA slab because I don't think they look good. So I've been watching videos on cracking if I want to start doing that.
Another thing they've been pretty adamant about touting is the 20% heavier thing. I don't have collectors been complaining their PSA slabs are too light. Do we want heavier slabs? Do you want your Zion case to weigh 4 more pounds? I mean, I don't understand this.
I think that's complete like a marketing thing, because in our perceptions, heavier is higher quality. It's like that in everything. Yeah. Unless it's like I don't know, something that's supposed to be light, like, I don't know, our Kindles, like the e-readers, should those be light? But I'm just saying, you usually equate heaviness to quality.
Yeah. Or maybe that's part of not being able to crack them either, too.
Yeah, could be.
Then they say ultra impermeable, which is a heck of a word, to heat, humidity, water, and UV light. So this is one where I'm happy about. Yep. And can stand by. I don't know, like the heat thing, like our slabs melting, or has that been a problem?
Maybe if you leave them in your car.
But humidity, water, obviously bad for cardboard. And then the UV light, I think, is the big thing. Yeah. I would have loved to actually seen them as part of this announcement, because it sounds like they're doing like engineering and math and physics and all this stuff. If they could have like given some way to quantify like the increases on UV protection, and then also spoken to like, will this make autos less susceptible to fading? That's probably the biggest issue.
Yeah, we should do a test. Let's get an auto graded card. We'll send it in, get the new slab, and then we'll put it in the sunlight for however many hours of sunlight we have a day, 16 right now, and we'll see what it does. Because this reminds me, there is
time lapse recorded kind of testing.
Well, yeah, there's a website though. It's called ratings.com. It's like RTINGS.com. They do a ton of like electronic stuff, and OLEDs came out and they did a test where they literally tried to burn, because burn-in is a big problem with those. Used to be, not so much anymore. They ran static content on these OLEDs for for very long time until they got burned in. And they're like, see, you can't get burned in now. Here's what you had to run it, this content for thousands of hours static without moving anything. So we should do the same test.
We should do a lot of things, but we never end up doing anything. So I totally agree with you. So yeah, between you and me, we need help. The last one, we talked a little bit about it already, but extra protective against micro scratches and surface scuffs. Great enhancement. You see it all the time. It sort of kind of ruins the eye appeal of a card when the slab is all horked up with scratches. So I'm 100% behind that type of upgrade. Another big one, I think, is they say no Mylar, no movement, and then something I am totally perplexed by: no unwanted Newton ring illusions. Maybe like Chris Kreider, I'm out to lunch, and Newton ring illusions are like the most burning hobby topic here. But I hate when there's internal sleeves in a slab. So Beckett, I think, does that too sometimes. So that's awesome. No movement would be great too. Like we see in like the PWCC, especially like maybe for like die cut cards or cards that are not standard size, where they're like leaning, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa in the slab. It's terrible. Can't stand that. And then the Newton ring thing, whatever that is. Okay, so here's some questions I have after hearing this announcement. Why do you think they didn't update the label and make it look better? So I have a couple theories, and you tell me. Maybe they see the label as really that's part of their brand and that's their identity of their slabs, and they were too afraid to change it, because even objectively, there's nothing like horrible about it, but it's not like nice looking. It's not, I wouldn't say it doesn't have a beautiful design. And especially like when you compare like Tag, how they have the sort of etched in label into their is super nice. This kind of makes me feel like, Troy, that they'll never change the label.
I think it's completely 100%. It's their identity. Even though I can't stand them, I can tell within half a second that I'm looking at a PSA slab just by the label.
Mm-hmm. Then you have to wonder if we'll see some price increase coming down the road, because if they're using medical grade plastic and other stuff, I can't imagine that's cheaper.
Yeah, we'll see.
So, well, I think we'll have to look out for that. And then I wonder too if this is the right focus for PSA. Like, are there more important issues they could tackle? Things like maybe turnaround time, grading inconsistencies. So I don't know, Troy. You are our show's grading expert. What do you think about all this?
I think it's craziness. No, I mean, hey, innovation happens. You got to eventually improve on your product. That this might be a first step for them. I have no idea how long it takes to do this stuff. I can tell you that I see no difference from pictures. However, that doesn't mean there isn't a difference when you hold it and actually see it. So if you're a PSA fan, I guess this is good news from the standpoint of I really like the UV protection. That's a huge thing. And
that's huge.
Big, really huge thing. And we'll see how this ends up. At the end of the day, it might just be the same, and we'll see what the fans say.
To their defense, maybe a little bit, for people that might want more, we got to remember they're pumping out 1 million of these a month.
Yeah.
So any change you make, you have to be able to make at scale.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably a big factor that limits maybe to some extent what they can do. Okay, next story, Troy. GameStop, your friendly local card shop.
There they are.
Yeah. So this past week, GameStop, the video game store with more than 4,400 U.S. locations, has started buying PSA slabs. So you can bring in cards that are either PSA 8, 9, or 10. I think sports cards, Pokemon cards work. I'm sure that sort of thing. And they'll look them up in their system and make you an offer. You can get cash or store credit. Right now, the program is only available in select states: Connecticut, Georgia, Kentucky, Mississippi, New York, Tennessee, and Texas. It appears, Troy, that they're trying to buy inventory as a way to sell singles, both in their stores and on their website. They've already got some listings on their website. And this whole thing fascinates me. There's a really good baseball card TikToker called Clever Cuban on TikTok, of course. He did a video where I think he's in one of the states, 6 or 7 states that they're piloting this in. He brought in some baseball slabs. He brought in like a common one and a couple rare ones. And I think it was the first time anyone had brought cards into this specific GameStop location. And so the manager looked them up in the system. The more rare ones that kind of, I think the assumption was that they didn't have in their system, they offered like $1, and these were not dollar cards.
Well, it's like that. It's like when you bring in games to trade, they'll give you 50 cents on unless you do store credit, then you can get $2.
And then he had one that was more of a common, like a Young Guns type equivalent baseball card. And they offered him at least in the realm of recent comps.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting video to watch. But it makes me think, like, what's their end game here? Are they just looking for like a quick revenue stream? Ultimately, will this be more popular like with Pokemon because more of a maybe a demographic alignment between their customer base and TCG collectors? Or could they go the whole LCS route and they have 4,400 locations, right? Could they get into wax? I would assume that would be appealing to the card manufacturers, right? A lot of distribution, and GameStops are in malls, like places where LCSs typically are not.
Yeah.
So you could get some there. I'm going to turn it over to you because you're our gamer here. But the one pitfall that I was thinking about, Troy, is there's a lot of knowledge and understanding that you need to have in this hobby, especially if you're going to be a card store or card shop. There's just millions of pieces of nuance that you just seem to have to know and I assume it applies to TCG as well as sports cards. I just don't know how they're going to train a retail staff to have the requisite level of knowledge and understanding of the hobby to successfully sell it. But I'll turn this over to you. What do you think of all this whole thing?
No, I think it's straight up a test to see if they can do it. There's no way these retail employees will know card values. They're gonna have to look them up in their system. And like you said, they might be there, they might not be there. I think they are looking for a different revenue stream. You gotta remember, at the end of the day, physical new releases are a dying thing in video games. So they need to do something to recoup. Now, retro gaming obviously has had a huge explosion. I've seen some GameStops get into a lot of retro gaming sales, which is smart. But I think this is truly just a revenue stream. And like we have the Mall of America, there's a GameStop store there that is a lot of Funko Pops, which those have tanked in value, but a lot more, I don't know, collectible stuff rather than the video games. It still has the video games, but they're definitely trying things to bring in these new revenue streams. I think this is just one other avenue.
Do you buy any sort of the notion that this could be an example of, again, the continued emergence of card collecting, that a company like GameStop, who is searching for a revenue stream, would see it as a very viable way for them to make money?
100%. I think it shows that the card market is growing.
Well, that's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're going to move on. 2 years of this show, Troy.
I like it. If you're watching it on YouTube, there's a great picture. Even our heads are on a pike. That's might not be the best thing.
That's our 2-year cupcake, Troy. For our show's a toddler now.
Yep.
Right. Well, considering we didn't start with a plan and we don't have one, I think we're doing okay. So we're going to take a few minutes, kind of maybe stroll a little bit down memory lane, and each give some of our perspective and thoughts on 2 years of the show, what we've learned, maybe some of our favorite memories. So I went back. I didn't listen to it because you and I refused to do it, Troy. But our first show was 39 minutes long. It's awful. Don't anyone ever listen to it, please.
No, it's horrible.
I kind of got a kick out of the description. It's not super long, some that we probably put on the podcast app. So here's the description when we even had less of a clue what we're doing than we do today, which may seem unfathomable to you. But Josh and Troy, that's us, introduce the Hockey Cards Gongshow and explain what the show is about. And more importantly, what it's not about. They shared their thoughts on the 2022 NHL playoffs, including rising players, and run through their current card prices for top player. Sounds like our show today. Next, this is exciting. Troy reviews the 2020-21 rookie class and where key players are at value-wise after 2 full seasons, including some interesting information regarding graded versus raw card.
I'm sure it's thrilling information
for Young Guns rookie.
I'm sure it's archived in the Library of Congress. It was so good.
Well, the funny part about this is that, like, if you think of our rules now, what you did and what I'm going to say next, it's like they would totally be reversed today.
Yeah.
Right. Then Josh covers the upcoming Upper Deck stature release and shares his opinion on pricing, value, and how to buy. Well, yeah, you just whip out your credit card. Finally, the boys detail some of their personal hockey card pickups over the past few weeks. Do you remember what those were?
No.
Crazy. Well, Troy, it's been crazy to see how much the show has grown over the past couple of years. I remember being amazed when we first posted our episode and literally having no idea if anyone would ever listen to it. And do you remember seeing, like, when we were like, look at the reports and like, I can't remember like where it was, but like somebody in like Mississippi that we like were pretty sure wasn't related to us listen to the show? You're on mute. You're on mute, Troy.
Oops. Coughed in. We're still a Gong Show. No, I remember thinking probably it was a bot. Just no confidence whatsoever.
What's crazy to think that since then, and this is just on the audio side, we've had listeners now in more than 4,750 cities and 76 countries across the globe, which is mind-blowing. I mean, what does somebody in like Czechia really think of this show?
Yeah.
Like, does this make them want to come to America?
We've hit all the continents except Antarctica. I think we're still searching for Antarctica.
They're haters. They don't like us. Then last summer, we made probably our biggest leap when we went to YouTube, put our beautiful faces on camera. Already have more than 100,000 views of our show. Given it's a 2-hour show, it's kind of wild. Blows my mind. Yeah, so the show's just grown incredibly, and I don't understand why. Probably never will, but very, very grateful to have this opportunity. And then some quick personal thoughts that I'll share on 2 years, Troy, is I think this is sort of like the first job that I've had where I love every minute doing it, right? And a job is a very loose term because most jobs are paid. And we've never, literally to this point, we've never taken a dime for ourselves out of this show. But it is a job considering the time we put into it, right? And so it's just it's so much fun, and I love every minute of doing it. It's a very, very fun show to make. It's also really time consuming, so that's been very hard for us to juggle at times. Like we've done Gong Show at night, Gong Show early morning. It's been stressful at times to
Gong Show in the Windsor Hotel with bad internet and good internet. We've had good internets.
Gong shows in hotels, like when your kid's sleeping, when you're on vacation, right in the background. It's kind of funny too. So, but I think part of the reason why we work so hard is I at least feel very, very strongly that it sounds cold, but this is the way I look at it. Like there's a very transactional relationship, Troy, between us and our audience. People give us their time. And when you have a 2-hour show, not that everyone maybe listens to every minute of it, but that's a lot of time out of someone's day. And so I feel a great sense of responsibility to hopefully give somebody some useful or good information or ideas or something they hadn't thought about, maybe a new perspective to look at that can enhance your hobby experience and make collecting more enjoyable. And I kind of look at it, Troy, like we work to earn people's time. It helps that I too love to learn about the hobby. And when I explain the show to people, I say that it really is. And I don't know if you feel this way too, but if you remember before we tried doing this, we're just texting back and forth all day long. And I kind of feel like our shows is an extension of those text messages. Yeah. Where it's bigger, of course, than those were, but where we're just kind of each learning and then sharing with each other what we've learned. Yep. And we try to do it in a way that brings the listener now into the conversation as well. And so we can hopefully learn from each other. biggest takeaway, of course, is we've mentioned this over and over again, that the people of this hobby are amazing. We've made probably friends for life now, which is crazy. And that's been an incredible gift. People in the hobby have been very kind to us, have been welcoming, been forgiving. We do dumb stuff sometimes and can't pronounce anything that's foreign, right? And we're kind of a couple of hobby outsiders from Minnesota. The other thing too is it was very intimidating to us when we started to realize that people in Canada were starting to listen to
I remember that. We're just like, oh.
I just closed my eyes and I was like, oh, this is going to be so bad. And our Canadian friends have been so kind and welcoming, and it's crazy. Like 8 or 9 of our top 10 cities are Canadian cities, which makes sense because it's the biggest hockey market in the world. But they're the experts and we're not. And so, instead of getting laughed at, they've, I think, laughed with us in a lot of cases, but have been very, very supportive of us, and really appreciate that. And even beyond that, right? It's like, I get so like, I don't think Troy will ever understand the difference between like Czechia, Slovakia, and Czech Republic. We just won't, no matter how many times it gets explained to us. And then, we've had a lot of love from Europe. We've had Asia, New Zealand, Australia. It's
Scandinavia, all over.
Yeah. And then even when you throw in too that a lot of our interactions are online, which is not known for being the most kind place in the world, that people have been very, very nice for us. Before we get your thoughts, Troy, I thought lastly I'd share a few hobby lessons that I've learned, because we have put a lot of time into the hobby the last couple of years. And if I was to give anyone advice, maybe entering the hobby or that just wanted anyone's advice, here's what I would say. Put yourself out there. The cards are amazing, but the people in the hobby are better. And the relationships for me have made the hobby experience 1,000 times better. I also think by putting yourself out there, when you develop a network of more experienced collectors, it's invaluable, especially when you need advice on making decisions for your own collection, which can cost a lot of money. I would say do your homework, then spend. It's like your dad used to tell you, measure twice, cut once. I think that applies to hobby. Don't spend, then learn about cards, because a lot of time you'll be learning about how you spent ineffectively. This hobby is very nuanced and there's so much to learn. We've probably done almost 400 hours now of hobby content, I would guess, Troy. And I feel like we're still just scratching the surface. Like we literally learn stuff every single time we do this show. And I don't see that stopping anytime soon. Well, we tend to focus, and then I have some very prospecting, I guess, lessons learned, because we want to focus on the upside in prospecting. We want to focus on what could be the lottery fantasy, the dream. And we sort of push out of our brain the fact that it's very risky. It's very risky. Not many players reach lasting hobby elite status. We're lucky if there's 1 or 2 even in a given year. So don't bank your entire hobby experience on betting on a prospect. Collect stuff you just like to collect, not to make money. I think you'll make more money in the long run doing that. Also, don't get too swept up in the topic of the day or the drama of the day or the controversy of the day. Great. You and I have largely sat out the entire Bedard chase after us pumping it up really for 2 years, the first 2 years of our show. And I didn't know how we just kind of both hit the point where it's like with these wax prices, we thought this is just crazy.
Well, there's just other stuff I'd rather have than Bedard.
Yeah. And honestly, it hasn't bothered me. Nearly to the extent maybe I thought it would. I'm enjoying the hobby more than I ever have, and am finding awesome new stuff every day. Shows like ours, we'd like to talk about juicy topics, because of course, we all like drama, right? And so sometimes the topic will make the hobby seem extremely optimistic, like nothing can ever go wrong, or hopelessly pessimistic. But the hobby is strong. Find your lane, tune out the noise to some degree if it starts making any part of collecting not fun for you. So, all right, Troy, I'll turn it over to you.
I'll go on mine. Mine will be a lot shorter, but I agree with Josh on every one of his points. You did it.
Thank you.
Good job. Obviously, best thing for me has been the friendships we have developed, the people we have met, the knowledge I've gained from all these people, because like we said, we still learn every day. I think I learned something new, and interacting with these people either online or at shows is great. I love it. The show is truly a passion. I love doing it. It's one of the things where have felt like I've almost learned something every time we do a show, and I will never stop learning. But like you said, this is kind of the reason we work so hard, is just to put a lot of stuff out there, because it's a time consuming endeavor to even listen to our show for the whole thing twice a week, couple hours at a time. So we're grateful. We're thankful. The show has let me hone in on myself and what I really want to collect and what's important to me from a collecting standpoint, and what others value from their collecting standpoint. And I think that has been one of the best things as well, just knowing what IPC and kind of honing in on that, and not worrying about all the other stuff that's out there that kind of boggles my mind sometimes, but having a peripheral knowledge on most of the stuff just in case I need to know about it. I'm absolutely still amazed that anyone listens to us. It's sort of mind blowing, but we greatly appreciate it. Really excited for what the future holds. We got a couple We got a couple things in the works. We'll see what happens. If anything comes of them, see what happens. But yeah, thank you to everyone that's listened. Thank you to everyone that's been around for 2 years. That's crazy. But even the new listeners, thank you for finding us. And again, we really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm going to add a couple more thank yous to that. So thanks to you, Troy, for being the best darn podcast host. A boy with a dream and a microphone.
Is this where I do this? Do I do this? Heart? I can't even do it. It's upside down.
Can you do like a button bar on, Troy?
Hold on, let me push. There, I'm pushing the button bar. Nothing's happening.
Oh. And then, like Troy just said, thanks to all of you who are listening and watching. Your kind words and feedback are literally the juice in our batteries that keep us going. So we appreciate that. And then even the critiques have made us work harder to be more accurate and get better. And we've learned a lot from those. And so we appreciate those as well. And then lastly, thanks to everyone who's contributed to this mess of a show in any way, large or small. We've had amazing guests. We've had fill-in hosts. We've had people that have designed stuff for us. It's just been can't say thank you enough. So with that being said,
I was gonna say you made a really good point on the critiques. Like we have no problem with critiques. Just don't name shame me or something.
Don't hurt my feelings, man.
No. Don't hurt my feelings. No, I'm just kidding. A lot of the critiques we got have been 100% accurate, and we don't mind them one bit. It helps us grow and helps us get better.
We want to get better. So let's talk about some new product releases.
All right. There we go.
Troy,
what do we got?
Could 2023-24 hobby box prices be coming back to earth?
Oh, poor Bedsy here. I hope this parachute holds out on YouTube.
Yeah, well, that's him coming back to earth. Get it? So we know David Adams is in the midst of a 33rd anniversary sale. So I guess congrats to them in 33 years number all. That's okay. We're at 2. They're at 33.
I gotta say something. I guess I got breaking news. Maybe I don't know if this is true. I don't know, but if you look at this, by the time Parker's Champions, I guess if you log into the site, might be down to $90 a hobby box. Don't quote me. I'm not saying it's 100% true. That's what just someone texted our Discord. So
we need to pause the show so you can empty your bank account.
Go buy it all. No.
Well, and as a result, there's been a number of wax deals that they've been promoting, including Troy. Including the almighty 2023-24 Series 2, which temporarily they reduced this by something like $40 or so. Okay. Now that went back up. Okay. But what it did do, though, it created a ripple effect.
Yes.
Triggered price reductions at other online retailers here in the US, like Steel City, where now you can still get it for $290 down from $330. Blowout cards won't even show the price for some reason.
That Blowout, a lot of people like them. I've found them the hardest site to get pricing from. They're always kind of it's always got the message, email us or for pricing or something.
I don't want to do that. I'm too lazy. We also found Series 2 recently in Canada at 401 Games for something like 370 Canadian, which is about 272 US. So even better there. We've also seen some price drops here in the US on 2023-24 Black Diamond. It looks like it's down about $50 from its release price. So sitting at like $450 now. Well, even on Steel City, they had the regular price at $600. It was never $600.
No, that's just a marketing trick.
Okay.
That's how they do it.
Now, sorry.
No, I was gonna say they get your brain going, oh my God, 150 off. No, that's not. Maybe that was like I don't know, a fake MSRP or something. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. So these quote unquote could be temporary price increases. Again, could have been triggered by David Adams' 33rd anniversary. Mm-hmm. But that being said, Troy, 2023-24 hobby products have only gone one way so far, and that's up.
Yep.
This is the first instances, I believe, where these products with live Bedard rookies in them are going down in price. So it kind of makes you wonder, well, what's happening here? Now, maybe did retailers or local card shops get a little too aggressive when they set the prices for these 2023 products and hurt demand? And maybe they're not moving as fast, and so they're trying to get them more out the door? I don't know. As the total amount and variety now of Bedard rookie singles that are in the secondary, we've had lots of releases. There's more and more cards in the secondary marketplaces. Is that quelling the fervor for ripping more boxes? You know, with sort of the attitude of bedamned the cost, right?
Yeah.
I don't care. As an example, we've started to see, Troy, Bedard raw Young Gun single prices drop around box cost.
Yeah.
So again, these are 1 and 8 1/3 boxes, and you're hitting a Bedard now, and it's not even covering in some cases the box cost.
Yep,
that's brutal. Or could it be a combination of the two? Now, I think on one hand, Troy, you can make the argument, well, this is just a sale, and I think a lot of people will take that viewpoint. But my career in marketing has taught me that when a company creates a sale, you're trying to motivate sale. You're trying to create more sales, right? And you discount products that haven't been moving based off their regular price as an incentive to get them out the door. It's just like if you're a dealer, a card shop, or a distributor, or like an online retailer, they need to keep products moving.
Yep. Inventory costs money.
Yes. So if Series 2 and Black Diamond were flying off the shelves at full price, you wouldn't normally include them in any sort of sale. That's just my take on it. Yeah. But what do you think's happening here? Are we starting to see a crack in the armor here for this 2023-24 pricing? Or
I'm guessing. I mean, they probably saw a little dip, and it's been out for what, 2 months? Is that right? Series
2.5 months. Well, so Black Diamond maybe a month now, something like that.
Yes. So Series 2 maybe saw a little dip in velocity on the sales, and so started to discount it to get it moving. Plus, you got to think they're planning probably for 24-25. You're going to have all that new product coming in. They don't want to be stuck holding this old product. But the weird thing about the Bedard is that it's got that Outburst Gold 101 thing hanging over it. As long as it hasn't been hit, which we don't know that it has. No one said anything. Conspiracy theories are out there like crazy. Like, is it in David Adams' interest to even say if they've gotten it and then paid the bounty? But I guess, I think it's probably it has. I mean, look at this is way anecdotal evidence, but when we were in Toronto, I mean, I didn't see Series 2 boxes flying off the dealer tables or anything.
No, we hardly saw any sell. And then the other thing that was really striking to me was Upper Deck has their really nice booth experience where they have the double-decker booth, and then they have a whole fenced off area with tons of tables where you can sit and rip cards. And I would have thought, listen, if the Bedard 101 was still live and box prices were $150, there would be so much product.
We have Riot trying to get in there.
Which again is a bummer to me. I think the whole thing is kind of sad that it got. But I agree though. I think you made a good point about 2024-25 products. Is you got to start moving the old products to make room for the new stuff. So we'll follow it. We'll see what happens. It really leads me to believe that if the 101 gold gets pulled, that Series 2 prices probably drop.
Yeah, right. Yes, drastic.
So if you're David Adams and somebody comes in and says, hey, here's this card, I haven't told anyone, do you pay them $1.25 million to keep their and contractually keep their mouth shut?
I couldn't do it. Like, I've heard it. I would feel ethically you pay your $1 million.
Not nothing.
there might be some rules or law around. You offer a bounty, or is it a contest?
You have to disclose it.
Yeah, is it a contest? You have to publicly say when it's over and all that stuff. Now, I always wondered if it truly is a contest. There's no purchase necessary requirements on contests in the U.S. Can I just write in my entry to say? It's weird. I love law.
100%. Yeah.
I don't understand anything about it. It's even with EPAC. Go read the rules. There's no purchase necessary on some of those those redemption cards or combined cards.
Well, how do you get? Maybe we should just do that. Start.
I would love to try it and see if
they're being hobby Karens and be like, man, I want an entry.
Yeah, if you ever read through the minutia of the terms and agreements, there used to be this one site, I can't remember what it was. They would go through the electronic, like Apple devices, and then they would make graphic novels of the terms and agreements. It was so fantastic, but someone needs to do that for hockey cards.
All right, we'll see what happens with wax prices. Next, we got to go and do a little bit of a follow-up on the Bedard Young Guns canvas design.
They changed it. Now he's holding our logo, so that's cool. Yeah. I'm glad we're in the product.
I'm very honored by that. Do a little follow-up. We don't typically do follow-ups. No. There's a lot of feedback.
Yep. I love it.
Unveiled Young Guns canvas design.
Yeah.
And our conversation with Billy Celio from Upper Deck on our last show.
Yep.
Be sure to check that out if you missed it. Most of it too, Troy, seem pretty negative.
Yep.
Gotta say, like, people aren't feeling the design and concept chance that UD took on this one. I'm a little surprised, as you and I think, are both in the camp where we kind of like it. Shows what we know as far as what the hobby at large is gonna, I guess the opinions would be. Now, I wouldn't say I love the design, but I've been on record a lot now saying that I'm very pro Upper Deck taking chances on stuff.
Yeah.
Trying new stuff, and as a result, I'm willing to live with cards and concepts that don't pan out. Now, people might say, well, this is such an important card, not a good one to try something crazy.
Fair.
Probably make
fair
the
point.
argument the other way too, but it is a fair point. So I did a poll on Instagram. That was curious. I wanted to see, and gave 3 options, Troy. Either you love the design, it's okay, you don't like it. Pretty overwhelming in the, get the poll results?
Oh, yeah, I do. Hold on a second, sir. I was actually looking up the poll on Instagram.
60% of people don't like it. 23% thought it's okay, and 17% love it. So if you're like negative reaction versus neutral to positive, it's like 60-40. We had a few hundred votes, so very, very good result. And thank you to everyone who voted. Are you surprised at all by the result, or based on the feedback that people were sending?
You know, I would like to say I was surprised, but no, once we saw the comments start rolling in, this is probably, I might even went 70-30 is what my prediction might have been for don't like it versus the other two. Very strong opinions on it. I was in the love it group because I love the risk and I love that they did something different. I completely understand all the feedback on the people that don't like it. I totally understand that. I was just more in the camp of, hey, they took a risk. They're doing something different. I don't think we've seen this before. I'm all for it. But again, people that don't like it, they have valid beef with it.
If I try to psychoanalyze what's going on, which I'm not a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist, I'm not licensed, but I'm an amateur. Part of me wonders if some of the instant reactions trending to the negative, Troy, is just kind of like human nature responding to something unexpected, where you tend to go to the negative. Like maybe not though. Maybe the design is just a miss by Upper Deck. But for me, the big test is going to be when this product comes out, what the chase is like, what the secondary market. You know, if it's like selling for crazy amounts in the secondary market, then it's kind of like, okay, right?
I can't wait till this card comes out. Yeah,
but everyone's still buying it.
Yep.
That being said, though, we've seen a couple people now suggest that the overall opinion on the design, so the fact that it seems to be more negative than positive, could hurt actually extended series sales. Do you see that as a possibility?
Interesting. Maybe. There's probably some truth to that. But do you think, man, yeah, I could see that happening a little bit if there's that many people angry about it. But it would all come down to like what the after or the secondary market's doing. And extended to a big driver is what the acetate is. What is it?
Yeah, you got Logan Cooley too. You got Adam Bentilli. You got the Young Guns acetates. You got lot of other stuff. And I think Billy hinted too that maybe some Easter eggy type thing too.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Time will tell.
Time will tell.
Got to make a quick mention for Gongshow partner sponsor PWCC, and we want to thank them for supporting our show and being our longest sponsor, right? They were our first, I think. So very, very grateful to them. A couple of really nice and convenient features, Troy, that we probably should mention more regarding PWCC are their grading and vaulting services.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like the grading stuff, because I've actually used it. It's very easy. So if you have a raw card that you want to either send to their vault or put up in one of their auctions or even their fixed price marketplace, as you're submitting the card, you can check from SGC to BGS and CGC, a grading option. They have very competitive prices. You just send the card to PWCC. They send it out to get graded. It comes back. You get notified of the grade. Then it goes into the vault or marketplace or the auction. It's very, very slick. It doesn't take long. And so, it's something, like I said, we should probably mention more. And then their vaulting service too, where especially for cards that maybe are not PC cards that you're just buying short term, or you think are flip opportunities to be able to buy on like a weekly auction, just have it in your vault. It makes it a one-click listing down the road and very easy to do that, which I think is a great feature that they have. Beyond that, we just want to give a reminder that the current PWCC weekly auction is live, ends this upcoming Sunday. Head to pwccmarketplace.com to check out all the hockey cards in the current weekly auction and, of course, place your bids. Troy, you and I will pick out our favorite vintage and modern cards and highlight them on Thursday's show. And then Jeremy Lee and I will be live on his YouTube channel, Sports Cards Live, this Sunday, starting at 8:30 Central, to cover the best hockey cards closing in the auction. We like to call it our PWCC weekly auction hockey watch party. We hope to see you all there in the chat.
Awesome.
Another big mailbag.
Big mailbag.
Just get right into it.
Go. Discord,
Piper Mac. Bedard, Road to Infinity. How big of a jump will there be when it starts selling on ePack?
I think huge.
Many will go straight to PSA. You think huge?
I think. Well, you got to remember too with ePack, since now I'm our new ComC ePack.
You are the ComC expert. Yep.
You can, you ePack it, you send it off to ComC, and then you can PSA it because they have an agreement with PSA to get stuff graded.
I'm not going to argue that you're not our expert, but have you actually ever done that?
No. Why would I do that? That would help the show. I sit there and complain about grading, but then I will say the more I've been using the platform, it's pretty intriguing. The integration is really nice, but again, ComC looks like it's from 1990. They haven't updated the interface, and some of the stuff's a little wonky, but it's pretty interesting.
All right, Discord, Philadelphia Flyergram. Why does Upper Deck simply not print cards themselves? Have they ever? Does any card company would certainly take more control over the process and expedite timelines so Billy doesn't have to make a set 8 years in advance? It's actually a really good question. Yeah. Really funny too. So congratulations there. I've worked for companies that do a lot of printing and like companies that produce hundreds of thousands of magazines, etc. Here's what I understand about the printing world. That to get on the presses that can print these as quickly and efficiently and cost effectively as you need to, these are typically in third-party facilities, because in order for these machines, these printing presses, to make money, they almost have to be running 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. And Upper Deck does not have enough print demand to do that, and so they couldn't do it cost effectively on their own. That being said, there's what you point out with the whole 8 years, very funny comment, is there's lots of disadvantages to this current process. And I hate how much lead time they need, because it prevents them from reacting more towards current trends or anything, right? Where Fanatics has gobbled up more of the U.S.
Well, you're going to say, I think Fanatics does own some of their printing facilities, or we've heard rumors that they do, and that they've kind of tried to, I don't know, corner the market on printing facilities in the U.S. But
anything else to add?
No, it's a great point. I don't think it's financially feasible for Upper Deck to own their own printing facility.
Next question, Discord Braun. Now that you're on episode 188, what do you think the show has had impact-wise on all your viewers or Discord members? What are your future thoughts on what you would like to do or share over your next 188 episodes? I can tell you as a Triple Gold member, your show, and both of you have changed my perspective on the hobby and card collecting. I have learned more since joining and watching all your episodes than any other sources of info I've come across in the past. To be honest, I was at a point of frustration, almost gave up hockey card collecting, and you both have changed my mind and kept me in the game with all your tips, thoughts, and advice. And I thank you both so very much for that.
I should have put this in our 2-year look back. Yeah. Like this is
super humbling.
Yes, if you want to know exactly why they do the show, this email now. Everyone will say we planned it, but we didn't. Like this first
Troy's mom.
Read it. Troy's mom is now Braun. No. Thank you for the question and the feedback.
Yeah, it's I don't know what to say, right? Yeah. If we've meant anything to you or anyone else that's listened, watch, or follow us, I assure you guys that you've meant more to us. And so we're going to keep working hard. Our planning rarely goes beyond the next show. You probably have already recognized. So we're always kind of sprinting to do the next one. One thing we're trying to do down the road is go bigger with guests, especially, and more on that soon. We'd like to incorporate the NHL and the players more into the hobby. That's something we would like to do.
Yeah, that's what I mean when you say bigger.
Yeah. We're trying to figure out how to do more live shows since we've gotten a ton of feedback. Yeah. People have asked us to do more of those. And so, Troy, I want to figure that out. We also need to get back to Hockey Cards 101 in Masterclass.
Failed lately. Failed for over a year, probably. When was the last one? Holy cow.
Yeah, we actually have a really good idea for a Hockey Cards 101. So we need to do that. And then planning for the Fall Expo. We're trying to do some big things there too. But it's very sweet. And you've left me speechless, bro.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, Kevin B. Smith. Why doesn't 2022-23 Parker's Champions get more hobby love? On-card autos, jersey cards, patch autos, not to mention all the parallels. The fact they're beautiful cards. Also, have they announced 2023-24 Parker's? If so, it being a Bedard year, how much do you believe the hobby box will be selling for? I think I think the problem with this, if there is a problem, is the 2023-24 Bedard products probably are overshadowing it a little bit.
Yeah.
I 100% agree, though, that it's being slept on a bit. You will not find a cheaper box that has on-card autos and game-used patches for vets and legends. You just won't. Maybe the other thing I was thinking of, like, what could be holding it back, Troy, are the big, kind of the bigger hits, the 51 minis. I love them, but they are an unorthodox card size, and some people just don't like dealing with that. There's like no penny sleeves for them, really. There's no top loaders, and then they don't fit in the boxes nicely. So I don't know. That doesn't bother me. I love the minis, but why do you think maybe it's not catching on more?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that quite a lot, and I always wonder if there's something to do with Upper Deck does release just Parker's cards, and I wonder if some people think these are lumped in with that. It's not its own set, like Parker's Champions, and they think it's Parker's. I thought maybe that's why it doesn't get a lot of love.
The brand isn't seen as very high quality.
Yeah, and it definitely is, and we've actually seen a lot of people love it. And in fact, I remember seeing this part of the other question. It looks like there is 23-24 Parker's Champions. If you go to Beckett, they have the details with images and everything.
Oh, wow.
23-24. I remember seeing it briefly, but yeah, it's definitely got a spot on. So there might be sell sheets out there and all that stuff.
Okay. Instagram Braun extended series has never really been big. Do you think 23-24 will be the highest price extended ever? Well, given it's pre-selling in the US for about $150 per box, it should definitely be the most expensive Braun. And we'll see if it could go up from there too if people are really chasing it.
Yeah.
Discord Ojibwe 86. Which player had the better Game 6 performance? Messier in Game 4 94 against the Devils, or Kreider in 24 against the Hurricanes? So you're going to answer this, but this gets back to me fumbling the whole Kreider thing in our playoff review. This is sad. So we got home like 6 p.m. on Friday from my daughter's hockey tournament.
Yeah.
And I was in my room changing. I'm like, I'm just going to lay down for like 10 minutes. woke up at 1 a.m.
Time traveled.
Yeah. It was. So I missed like the darn game. I screwed up my sleep schedule. I was just exhausted from the week, but it sounds like you at least saw some of the game. So I'll let you answer the question.
Yeah. So what Kreider did was kind of nuts. I had the game on in the periphery. I think I might have been writing for the show or doing something, but so I had it on, but boy, did I start noticing when he starts scoring goals and then gets his natural hat trick. So I kind of piqued my interest. Plus I didn't realize this at the time, but those 3 goals were scored in a span of 8 minutes and 58 seconds.
Wow.
So, yeah. So then I started doing fun fact research, and here you go. Kreider became the 3rd player in NHL history to score a 3rd period hat trick that included a Stanley Cup playoff series clinching goal. Others were Jake Gensel and Jack. I'm going to say it wrong. Darragh. Dara.
Yeah, so, something like that.
And that was in Game 5 of the 1920 Stanley Cup final. Kreider became the 3rd player in Rangers history to score a hat trick in a potential series clinching game, joining Mike Gartner and Steve Vickers. He's also the 3rd player in New York history with 3 goals in a playoff period. Mark Messier, Game 6, which was mentioned in the question. Wayne Gretzky, Game 4 of the 97 conference quarterfinals. Rangers reached the conference final for the 2nd time in 3 seasons. They lost, or when they lost to Tampa Bay, I think in 2022. Okay. Back to the game. So Carolina's up 3-1. Kreider goes off, gives them the lead 4-3. So now I was thinking about the 94 Rangers, and I will fully admit I don't remember watching that game, so I had to do a little research. But the Rangers were down 3-2 versus the Devils in that series. Messier comes out. It's called the guarantee game. Says they got to win Game 6. Devils take a 2-0 lead in Game 6. Rangers make it 2-1, and then Messier scores his natural hat trick. Rangers win the game 4-2. Now, what some people forget, Messier's last goal was an empty netter, but it was shorthanded. So there's kind of that too. So who had the better game? I don't know. I do like Messier kind of did the guarantee, put his money where his mouth is, but I think that's overused a lot. But back then it seemed like it was a less rare thing. Yeah. Again, like I said, I don't remember watching the game, so maybe not in the best position to make a final judgment, but they were both very good performances.
Even though I was sleeping, Troy, because the Rangers won the cup in 94, don't you have to give the nod to Messier right now?
Yeah.
That the game
good point. More? Great point.
If the Rangers get swept against the Panthers, then it doesn't mean as much.
Great point. Absolutely great point.
Instagram, Cody Resposa. Will the values of any cards from Coyotes players go up after moving to Utah? I actually think there's going to be more of a hobby chase in Utah than there was in Arizona. It's a really strong sports market. It's not huge, but the fans like go crazy for the Utah Jazz.
Yeah.
And I think there's going to be a ton of excitement for having a hockey team. So I look at like players like Logan Cooley or Clayton Keller that could be some guys maybe to watch next year. No, listen, Salt Lake City is not Montreal, so let's not get crazy, but I do think it'll be better than Arizona. What do you think?
No, I think definitely there's going to be, at least at the start, but I think it's going to be a bigger sports market, especially for hockey. They seem super excited to get a team, and they're going to support it. And the ownership seems like they really, really want hockey, and they're going to push it. So we'll see.
Instagram, Camp Hockey. I'm new to this. Just pulled a big card recently. So torn on grading options. Help. Well, first, congrats on hitting a big card. That's always fun. If you're hoping for the highest resale value, PSA is the way to go. Pretty easy. For PC, either don't grade it or pick a grading company that you'll enjoy the slab the most, right? So like Beckett could be a good alternative, especially for patch autos. People get the thicker cards. People get those graded there. For more regular size cards, SGC or Tag would be probably the more viable options. I don't know if Tag grades autos yet, though, so I don't know. You didn't tell us the card, so kind of have to be a little bit vague here. But that's my thoughts. What do you think, Troy?
No, I agree. At the end of the day, I don't grade. So my answer is if you're trying to resell it, PSA and you want the highest value, go that route. But if you just want to enjoy it, just enjoy it raw. You don't need to grade it.
Next question is a redo.
Okay.
It's our video question.
Yes.
Remember, Troy, the video plays automatically. You told me to remind you that.
Yes.
I'm reminding you.
Video's going to play automatically. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to add to the stage, and we'll see if it plays. Ready?
This is from our friend Bobby, 86 Collectibles.
Here we go.
Hey, Gong Show family. Perhaps maybe the first video question submitted. I don't know. Anyways, I'll make this quick. I've been called a lunatic because this is how I sort my teams. So I'll have, like, say, the Kings, and all of them are in the front. Rather than, say, the Kings being here, and all of them are in the back. I do it with all the teams. Montreal, front. Bruins, front. I do it with all the sports. Am I crazy? I've been called a lunatic for this. Or do people do this? I don't know. Let me know. Thank you. Bye.
So, Troy, huge question: are front or back?
Okay, so let me get the question back up here. There we go. So we can see it. So I actually do it the way Bobby does. I have my boxes sorted by players. I usually do player in my hockey boxes, but I have the cards and then the, whatever you want to call it, the tab with the player's name on it. So the cards are in front of it, of that player. So that's how I do it. I don't think you're a lunatic, or else if you are, me and Bobby are lunatics together.
My collection has zero
rhyme or reason.
So I did get a top loader binder, so we'll see if that changes anything.
Okay.
All right, we're gonna move on to McLeb. Oh, now you gotta skip the next one.
Oh, here we go.
McLeb Hockey Cards. He says, you guys frequently chat about the limited number of players the hobby can sustain or support in any given market, usually 1 or 2 players. However, you never talked about how many players in a franchise history the hobby can support in terms of value, obviously. What's your best guess? P.S. I'm from Montreal, and I think we can support 6. Maurice Richard, Jean Beliveau, Guy Lafleur, Patrick Waugh, Carey Price, and Cole Caulfield. I think it's a fantastic question.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as limiting when it comes to franchise legends. I think it's much just more of a meritocracy at that point. And I agree, a team like the Canadiens can support many hobby chases. Like, even to your list, McLeb, I would throw in Jacques Plante, Henri Richard, and Ken Dryden to the list as well.
This is like a research topic. I have no idea. I'm, like you said, it's probably legendary players. I think it can support a lot more than current. But
like Doug Harvey was a Canadian too, wasn't he?
Yeah, was he a Red Wing? No, I don't know.
We'll see who wins. I'm going to say Canadian.
All right, I'm looking it up. Hockey Reference to the rescue. And Canadians, right? So, well, way more seasons with Montreal than the Rangers, then Detroit, then St. Louis.
Pick a team.
Yeah,
Harvey played. Okay, Instagram, Siri Care. Which keeper has the greatest value? Waugh, Brodeur, Fleury, Fuhr, or any other? Okay, so is there a chance, Siri Care, that you're from? Do you think he's British? Because isn't that more of a...
Oh, maybe. Like a goalkeeper?
Like a UK way to say goalie or something like that? So now I'm curious. You got to tell us where you're from. For most consistently high valued, I go with Patrick Waugh and then Brodeur. If you're talking about highest valued rookie cards, then I think you would have to add some vintage guys in, like George Vezina, Terry Sawchuk, again, Jacques Plante, and Ken Dryden, because their high-graded cards get very spendy.
Yeah, of that list, definitely Waugh. We see him all the time, and his cards go for big stuff.
Another question from Siri Care. He said, modern cards grading question. Sorry.
Thank you.
You think it's under 8, better to keep raw? So first of all, Troy, I love that you've been so crabby about grading that now people are apologizing to you when they ask questions. It's pretty hilarious.
Yeah.
If it's a regular 35-point card like a Young Guns or some other numbered parallel, then it probably does have more value, Siri Care, raw, than an 8. This is where the hockey hobby and grading gets a little nuanced. A 8 on a PMG is a good grade. Or like a thicker cup RPA, it's not going to kill the value. Listen, anytime the grade is higher, it's going to command a premium on the card. But I wouldn't say that in the case of like a thick patch auto or rookie patch auto or like a PMG that a 8, you have to sort of look at what the pop counts are. And if there's no 9s or 10s, then you're probably good. What do you think?
Agree. No, I'm with you 100%.
Okay. All right, here's a question for you, Troy. Another one from Braun. He said, finally got to watch the movie Miracle. I noticed the team practiced at Bloomington Ice Arena in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Have either of you ever been in that arena? Is it still there? Would you maybe be willing to do an episode or part of an episode on the history of Minnesota hockey and your backgrounds in hockey throughout the North Stars and moving them to Dallas? And you want us to heave cry on their show, Ron? So you want? And then the creation of the Minnesota Wild. I think it'd be very interesting to get some more info as both of you are Minnesota boys. All right, Troy.
Yeah, so definitely. So the arena is Bloomington Ice Garden. It's actually called Big, and it's in Bloomington, Minnesota, which is just a suburb of Minneapolis. But yeah, the rink's still there. It now has 3 sheets of ice. When the U.S. Olympic team was there, I bet it was 1 sheet of ice. It's the thing was it had an Olympic size sheet of ice, so that's why they practiced there. I've definitely played there. I still go there in youth hockey. It's a big rink. Lots of tournaments happen at that place. It's not the super rink in Blaine. It doesn't have 9 sheets or whatever it is, but it's got 3 sheets. So yeah, I love the episode idea. We'd have to think about that. Might be a whole show, but
very emotional.
Bloomington Ice Garden, Big, is still there.
Instagram, Nice Ice Cards, Hockey Hot Potato. Don't hold second, third year players for too long because the next hot thing will always be more valuable short term. J. Rob is a nobody in the hobby. Wyatt Johnston is taking his thunder.
Yeah.
Seems like guys that haven't peaked yet are more valuable than hot streak players. Wyatt Johnston gets some points, but Braden Point gets 100 and nobody cares. Yeah. Well, it takes a lot of people many years to learn that. And that once a player crosses that line from being a prospect to a veteran, then it's only the superstars, Troy, that remain the chases. And so the points that Nice Ice made are, I think, hit the nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Hobby values and chases are very fickle. You need that mythical hype plus monster performance, and hype will always trump performance in 99% of the cases. So that's just the way it works, right?
Yep. He's dead on.
All right, so this next one, backpack graphs, is is a big fail on us because I don't know enough about this. And are we out of the loop on EPAC or something like that?
Oh, did I just lose all my EPAC cred?
Yeah, you were the EPAC guy. He says, kind of weird that Upper Deck announced odds for place, but only gave them as EPAC achievements. So now, I know that they have to announce odds because of legalese for cards on EPAC. And you've mentioned that before. So is the kind of lane he's going down here, Trey?
I think, and maybe I don't know what set he's talking about either. Maybe it's all hockey sets. I'm guessing because if they had to announce the odds on a printing plate, they're 1-on-1s. You'd give the odds of 1 in so many packs. You would know the print run immediately, right? Does that make sense? So I'm guessing they do them as achievements because maybe then they don't have to do them that way. I apologize. I'm not 100% sure that that's what the question is asking. Backpack graphs, write in again and let us know if we're way off.
Well, then he asks another one, Troy. He says for 2023-24 Canada, views on EPAC and if the delayed release dates hurt the hobby. I wasn't aware that release dates. See, when it comes to EPAC, maybe we don't know enough, but there's no rhyme or reason to me when any of this comes out. It's just like, we'll see an email. It's like, Series 2 is available on EPAC now. Okay.
Oh, there it is. Is he saying Team Canada Juniors? Is that what he's talking about?
Oh, maybe.
So Team Canada Juniors is out. It's for sale. $173.99 US for a box. All because of Bedard. Yeah, I apologize.
It probably would
because World Championships going on right now. Juniors already happened, right?
And there's so many Bedard NHL cards out now too.
Oh, but maybe that's what he was talking about for the odds. I'm sorry, I'm talking to myself. So no one probably cares what I'm.
Well, because the hobby box came out last year, right? So yeah, I mean that probably does hurt the market for it. But I would say backpack, if you're a collector, it's good because I think you'll get the cards cheaper. Instagram, Taylor A. Wood. Do you guys collect complete checklists? Or what are your thoughts on doing that? I have not really ever done that until recently. I guess after I've started to get intrigued by it. And I've stated the intention that I want to collect the 2015-16 OPG Platinum Retro Gold Rainbow out of 149. Not the entire set, but the 20 retired vets. So this would be the closest I've ever come to that. I might do like all the Glow Peachy, or I'm also really intrigued by the personal pickup I got today in collecting that set. So I'm starting to hedge more towards getting into this, but I have not ever completed one. Have you?
No, I don't. And if I did, it's like inadvertently I completed a base set because I bought so many boxes, but I wasn't out trying to complete it. I really do admire people that do complete checklist collections. I think they have like a really special place in my heart of set builders because of the dedication they have. And we see these guys at, Toronto. I mean, there's be some old school guys that have wads of paper and they're going right through their checklists of everyone they need. So I don't personally do it, but I have an appreciation for people that do.
Instagram, Jeremy Catan 6. Why has Zach Benson been left off Trilogy and nearly left off Black Diamond? I would have had a harder time answering this question until the whole Leo Carlson kerfuffle with Trilogy, and we started to get a little bit. Now, we have not asked Upper Deck the exact reason, so understand that. But what we learned through that whole kerfuffle with Carlson is, as what was the Philadelphia Flygram mentioned, these sets get done so far in advance that when you have players like Zach Benson who kind of come out of nowhere a little bit, and we did a rookie deep dive on him not too long ago, and he was a kid that basically went straight to the NHL. It will catch Upper Deck off guard a little bit to some extent, where they hadn't planned for him necessarily to be with the NHL team by this point. And so and if they don't catch it, then they get left off some of these sets. That's my best guess.
Yep, I agree.
Instagram, last question. Instagram, GopherFan90. What's a good website for reading about new product releases coming out and checklists of new products? Beckett would probably be your best bet at this point. And
I would have said Beckett or Cardboard Connection, but Cardboard Connection seems like hockey has become an afterthought. So I would just go to Beckett. Yeah, I'd go to Beckett. You can, I should say there's also, you can find some stuff on. Collect. CLLCT.com, I think it is what it is. I think they're doing some stuff now around releases. But yeah, Beckett for sure is where I would go.
If we ever had Darren Ravel on the show, do you think either of us would have the cojones to?
I don't know.
So Darren, tell us about how you started.
And then he immediately turns off his camera.
He'd hang up on us. Yeah. I'm sure he spent a bunch of money on that branding. All right, we both have personal pickups. How very exciting!
Yep, here we go.
Okay, man, you go first as always.
All right, 2020 Upper Deck, the Cup, Marian Gaborik, stick and move, serial numbered out of 35. Yeah, this will be my first stick card, second stick card, I think. So keeping the Gaborik run going.
You know how a lot of times you have it's natural to have affinity for like retro jerseys.
Yeah.
I still
you
don't
have
like
nothing.
Those.
Nothing for this.
Do you like those old Wild jerseys?
They don't bother me as much as they bother you, but I'm not going to wear one. I'm not going out to buy one.
Is that a Bauer stick then?
I think it is an Easton.
Oh.
I think that's the T and the O.
Oh, cool.
And I think he's got an Easton in this picture.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, very cool card, Troy. I have a pickup too. I sort of hinted at it in a set I might build. I bought this on my card post. It's a 2014-15 OPG Pavel Datsyuk 3D Easter egg. I think I like lenticular cards I think I should just come out and say it. Does that make me weird? Probably.
No. They're cool.
It's a 42 card unannounced set, so hence Easter egg. That even Cardboard Connection still to this day does not have all 42 cards identified. So that I like that. That's fun to me.
Yeah.
And I get the sense these are pretty rare because when I bought this card, I did some comp research, could only find of this particular card 3 sales ever in Card Ladder sales history, going back 10 years or so.
Yeah.
Now I still haven't seen one of these in hand, so I kind of can't wait to get it. And then just a note too on they sponsor our pack opening videos, but if you buy cards on my card post, even with the free account, in most of the cards you can make offers on. So this card is listed at 125. I offered 100. I think I got a really good deal, and I think the seller got a good deal too, considering that you don't have to pay seller fees when you list cards on the marketplace, so you can give people like me a little bit better deals too. And then another kind of congratulations to MCP. They just got over 100,000 listings. So there's lots of really good cards on there. And then going back to the whole set thing, if I like these in hand, I might try to collect the set, but it'd be a long-term project because they're all spendy. And there's a Gretzky and there's like a Lemieux, I think like a Yager and Lemieux that, again, if Datsuk is $100 or so, those are going to get pricey. But it's just another example of me liking weird and unknown cards.
Yeah.
That's our show. 2 years. So we start year 3 on Thursday. But if you like the episode, please leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, whatever podcast app you listen to us on. If you love the show, you want to support us, you want to chat with us on the Hockey Cards Gongshow Discord server, please consider a $5 a month donation. Join our $1.99 support level tier on Patreon. Link is in the show description within our Instagram profile, or you can search for Hockey Cards Gongshow on the Patreon website as well, patreon.com. Follow us on social media. We're on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. And Troy, the Hockey Cards Gongshow podcast is a production of Dollarbox Ventures, LLC. Have an amazing start to your week, and we can't wait to be back on Thursday.